Delay.
Episode 2. This episode, we are doing the Daily Stoic Podcast with Ryan Holiday. He had a guest, Scott Galloway, on, and this was one of my favorite episodes or podcasts I've heard ever. It was two of my favorite podcasters talking about all topics that I find very interesting the whole time. It was an hour. You're in and out. Every part of that hour was interesting. It was, I could not recommend this more. I had this one at a 95. Yes, this one was great.
Gosh.
Not very good at my Russian judge stance here. But it truly, like, as I listened to it, one, I was immediately excited to talk to you about it. And second, it was like, I am not going to be the slightest bit upset listening to this a second time. And I wasn't.
This is funny because you always come on with ratings ready, and I keep on forgetting to put my ratings down. So I'm like going through in my head, but I would probably give it, I would give it a 73.
73.
Yeah.
I like the different opinions here.
So this is one of your favorites. This was one that was hard for me to start going on. And I'll give you the inside scoop for anyone like me. So I think Ryan Holiday, he was on Modern Wisdom not too long ago. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And he was actually really good on Modern Wisdom. I liked him a lot. They had a really good discussion. And so I was excited to listen to it on his podcast. I haven't listened to his podcast. And I like Scott. So also Scott Galloway, I've listened to his podcast and I didn't like it too much. So I was coming on like, oh, I'm ready to listen to Ryan Holiday, but not Scott Galloway. And it was the opposite. Like Scott Galloway, I really liked him. And he seemed like he always backs up, like he explains in his life how he implements his thoughts. Like a lot of people are like, they have these really good ideas for like the community in general, but they don't practice them themselves. And it seems like he is practicing his like opinions and stuff. So it was not what I was expecting. And also another insight that I would give is definitely skip to 6 minutes just for everyone. Because
you don't like
Ryan Holiday, he's just hyping up himself and his podcast, which is fine. You have to do that. You got to market. I would say at least 6 minutes they start talking. If you're like me and didn't want to listen to Daily Stoic, I wanted to listen to Daily Stoic, but I wasn't too excited about Scott Galloway. If you're not too excited about this episode, I would say 14 is the one that like you could pick up listening at 14 minutes. And this is what I did actually the third time I listened to it. I listened to it again today. I picked up at 14 minutes. I go, yeah, you could pick up at 14 minutes and just hit the ground running, especially after kind of getting the scoop of what we're gonna go back over today. So 14 minutes might be the right decision for you.
Yeah, I agree. The podcast, so you haven't listened to it. It gets kind of religious, the Stoicism one. And like, that's how he starts most of his podcast episodes, was like a passage from Meditations or something, some Stoic philosopher. So yeah, I could see how that would be like, what am I listening to here? I thought it was just normal because, you know, I from time to time listen to his, so it wasn't surprising.
Yeah, that was a pretty good.
His podcast is better when it has guests on, in my opinion.
I can see that. Yeah. It'd be, yeah. So maybe a good next point would be kind of towards the beginning, they start talking about how just, in general, they feel like there's a lot less religion in today's world and in America than there was past 10 years, just in the past in general. So kind of the importance of what they're saying was that, we might have to cut that part. I forgot where I was going.
Just talk. Tell me what you were thinking about. I mean, so the big part of the theme, the overall theme, there's kind of like two, and they kind of go together, and it's what Scott's really been hammering for the past month, if you follow him. But I think it lands with me, is young men are struggling right now, more so than like the drop from where they were to where they are is dramatic. And it's because things like, or at least what he thinks is There's no religion. There's less social empathy towards them. There's all these kind of things that are stacking up against men, young men right now. And they started talking like, because of that vacuum, there's some influences that they don't like filling that void.
Yeah, thanks for picking up on that.
The other one is, and it kind of pairs nicely with it, and this one really feeds my prejudice already, but it's that the boomers are stealing from our generation, the next generation, with all their policy decisions. And
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't
yeah,
realize that. I never kind of put together a lot of the aid and a lot of the support is stealing the opportunity from the younger demographic, the 20-year-olds, you know?
right. And I remember when it clicked for me is like, but I liked how he talked about like it's our credit card that they're spending. I really like that. That's going to stick with me. But when you figure out that they take a loan now for trillions of dollars that they say they will pay back over the next 50 years. Well, guess who isn't going to be around in 50 years? The people that are deciding to spend it. Guess who is? We are. So that bill is ours. So they're taking a loan out in our name every year. And it just, it grinds my gears, to quote
Yeah.
Peter Griffin.
Yeah, and one of the examples they gave is like during COVID, whatever, some of the small businesses, like even restaurants that are getting bailed out, that's taken away from a young kid who just came out of culinary school who could have filled that void and
Right.
maybe would have had a better business, but he doesn't get that opportunity. And I never thought about that side of the scenario because I was coming from like, yeah, it's like good to support and kind of give a second chance almost to these local businesses, restaurants and whatnot. But it's kind of a good example that there's a levels to it. There's a lot more to think about, and especially in politics, it's hard to understand how much different avenues a decision can affect. There's a lot more to it, a lot more side effects.
Yeah, and a lot of times they focus like we're building out the banks because we don't want if the banks go under, then the little guy loses his savings, right? But I mean, really, you're just bailing out the VPs at that bank so they can, keep doing their thing, run bad businesses, and make a ton of money. And then the small town banks go under because now what do? I don't go to a small town bank because why would I? I would rather put my money in a bank that the government will not let fail. They do these decisions all the time. It makes it so like I used to look at politics like I can't affect it, right? Let's control what I can control and not worry about that.
Pretty
I don't agree with
common.
any of it. Just let it go. But the older I get, the more I get mad because they're just screwing us over and over and over again. And I think that goes back to like so one of my thoughts on why men are struggling is it's harder to provide now with the inflation that they've done um, and the hollowing of that middle class. It's hard to go from a male and the lower to middle class and rise those ranks to where you can provide for a spouse and a family. They made that quote about the median average house went from 290 to 420 in what was it? 4 years or something crazy?
Yeah. Another stat they had is 1 in 3 men in the ages in their 20s are dating women, but 2 out of 3 women in that same age demographic are dating men, and it's men older that have that financial security and have that success already.
Yeah. So do you see that in your friends? Are there a huge chunk of them struggling to get the jobs they want, to buy houses, to
So
start families?
from my college friends, I mean, I'd say like 75%, and I'm like 23, so a lot of 23, 25-year-olds and whatnot. I would say maybe even 80% are living with their parents still, which, like, seriously, I would say that's not dramatic, 80%. And,
Wow.
but especially when you get to my high school friends, those peers, I would say even 5%. And I mean, like, not as in like way to look at them. Like, I think it's a smart financial decision. I think one of the things I think in this podcast, one of the things they mentioned was it's going to be hard to get like a significant other when you're living with your parents. And that's very true. That's going to be hard. I think even my wife, so I was living with my parents right off college, and she would give me crap. She's like, why are you still living with your parents? It's like, so and so just bought a house. Like, why aren't you doing that? And that one went right through me. That bullet went right through me.
I
And
bet.
I was
And
looking
you
at
bought a house,
houses.
didn't you?
I was looking at houses by the end of the night. I was like, someone else bought a house. So yeah, no, but yeah, it's very accurate. And
Dang,
I'm
80%.
right in that realm, so I can tell you firsthand.
Dang.
I mean, even my closest friends, they all live with their parents or housing provided by their parents, still in school.
That's crazy. I didn't see that as much as I saw more like we're not going to have kids till we're 30 type of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is, I I had my first one at 25. That in any other generation, I would have been the last to have it, but I was the first.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how that affects like health in kids too.
Yeah.
Something that we won't see for a while.
Yeah. It's mixed with an unhealthy population at the same time.
Yeah, healthcare's money, money, money.
Did you like the part about it was Scott's advice? He said, I'm counseling people to come up with their number. Like, what is the number where you're going to have enough? That way, when you
Yeah.
get there, you know you have enough. Do you have a number? Did you got it?
I have like an idea of the things I want to be able to purchase, but I haven't calculated those to a number.
What are the things?
I want a house with land. I want to
Yep.
be able to. This is a hard one. I'll probably go back and forth on this, but I want to be able to send my kids to whatever they want to go to.
Okay.
Whether that is like having them be able to take on like financial loans on top of it, but just being able to get them there, kind of like our parents did. They didn't like pay for everything, but they got us there. They opened the door and said, if you want to support your portion of it, you can do it. I want to be able to do that. That's important. And then I think kind of the cherry on the top is once I have my family, I would love to be able to have enough money to travel. Like that would get me, like if I had enough money to have a very nice house, land, in a nice area and have the savings to get my kids through college and then travel, like on top of that while we're living life, I would be like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's all I need. Now, I don't know if I could do Scott Galloway and then start giving back like that. That's way easier said than done. So if he's actually doing that in the world, that's cool.
Yeah. It is a cool idea. You kind of wish more people up there were like that.
Yeah.
That's where I think one of the things I always get tired of is, and he even had this opinion, is like tax them more. I hate when the solution is the government. It's like that'll fix it, right? Just give the government more money. For what? Why? I think eventually, people are generally good. They'll eventually figure out, like he did, I'll be happier if I don't hoard this. I think culture and well-meaning individuals have a better chance of solving that problem than government. And that's my opinion on most subjects around those, like, should the government fix the thing?
And that's kind of another thing is, so maybe you can elaborate more on this, but he talked about how America kind of like artificially created the middle class in a very strong middle class.
I don't think that was an invention. Like I disagree with him on that one. I don't think it was something they went out with the intent to do. I don't think he can point to anything other than I think the free market capitalism sets up that ecosystem. And I think the reason why we see that dying now is we're getting farther and farther away from free market capitalist society. There are more and more rules. There's more and more regulation. And the people that win bigger because they partner with the government to win bigger.
Yep. It's a good take on it. I think that Yeah.
I agree with him on a lot of things. That one I wasn't really in line with. I tried to come up with a number. I don't think I gotta go back and do it more, but it's a lot of things you have.
Do you
But
have the actual literal number, or do you just have the things that you
well,
would
so
like?
it's so tough to have a number. I think my number would be pretty crazy high, and that's because I don't think inflation's going to stop. Like when I look about what I need to retire, it's going to be. I mean, you may seriously need 1,000 times more. Because if we keep having interest rates and they keep compounding, they're going to. It's going to be a scary number of dollars per month that you need
Hmm.
to
Yeah,
have
that
that
was one.
maximum happiness.
That was one thing he said. Get the annual number you'll need and times it by 25 for your years in
Hey,
retirement.
no, I'm
And
listening.
yeah, he was saying to multiply the how much you need annually by 25 for your retirement. And
Yeah,
I
he
was
kind of
thinking,
just
I
threw
was
that
like,
out there.
yeah, I was like, and inflation, if we want to be realistic, because that's going to be gnarly.
When I heard the 25, I was kind of guessing like you need 25 times that amount in order for the stock market to spit out an increase in value equal to that lifestyle or that spend. Because
I, I,
I think the math is like if you have 2.5 million and there's a 6% return, you have 100,000 a year. That was like the traditional model for the boomers. Save up to 2.5 million and you'll be able to retire.
is that what he was saying?
I think so. I'm not sure.
That would make a lot more sense.
I'm
Yeah.
not positive, but that was my
But you'd be
interpretation
able
of
to
it.
return a lot more though if you times your annual need by 25%, right? That would mean
Well, you have to have that much in value sitting in
I guess that's
assets.
returning 4% on it. Like if you had 25 times whatever you need each year, that would be returning 4%, like around 4% each year. So I guess that would make sense.
Yeah.
Which is like the typical index fund, right? Checks out.
But the number thing, what I like the most about it is the framing. He's like, I don't think he explicitly said it, but the way I was thinking of it is what part of your life, like what do you have to have? Hopefully you can turn it into a dollar number. How many dollars do you have to say, I'm no longer going to hustle and grind to get more. I'm going to start going after other things. I like that a lot. It's something like so when I moved here, it was very much one of those decisions because my
When you moved
career,
from California,
right,
Los Angeles area to Alabama,
right, yeah.
big difference
My
in.
career path was I was flying, and I didn't see much stopping because there's so much opportunity there. But when we moved here, it was really about the kids. Like, where do we want to raise them? How do we want to raise them? And that was the first time in my career it was a decision that was not best for my career. And I think I kind of had that calculus when we made that.
Yeah, and I think it's something that it's a very few people who like could relate because you really have to put the hot laps in. And you
Mm-hmm.
had put the hot laps in for your career. And I think that's something you got to do first before you can start thinking about these kind of the topics that they bring up of how much money do you need to be happy. It's like you kind of got to put yourself into it, and that's like what I'm in the middle of. Is I'm
Mm-hmm.
throwing myself in there. I'm putting in my hot laps,
Mm-hmm.
and once I start having kids and things start like getting, I guess, more important or serious, like especially with kids and whatnot, then I can kind of step back and then reevaluate where I'm at. But I'm in the stage of hot lap right now, putting in my
That's
hot
right.
laps, and that's
That's
why,
right.
yeah,
That's still got to be the advice. Like if I'm telling my son, I don't even care about him listening to this episode for the first 10 years of his career. Go listen to Goggins and Jocko. Wake your ass up early. Go, 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 go. And then, because that discipline affords you the freedom to decide what you want at this point,
hmm
right? And you don't put in that work. If you don't climb that ladder, then you don't get the choice, later
yeah, and
on.
yeah, I think so. The first half of the episode, they're talking about how like younger men are like struggling, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
that is kind of this podcast would relate to him because you need to identify, you need to identify the situation you're in, and
Yeah.
you really need to be able to know that, hey, I need to work my butt off for this 10-year stretch of my life. I think that's another thing I observe in my peer group is like, you should be sprinting right now. This should be a sprint. 70 hours. I'm not doing 70 hours a week, so that's way too much. But like that was very dramatic. But like in my mind, I feel like I'm doing 70 hours a week. I'm always thinking, yeah, like
70 hours
just grinding right now. I think that's very important for young people, especially early 20s right out of college.
Yeah. So what's your motivation? Why grind? That was another thing they talked about. I'm curious what yours is.
It's to get to that number to where I can start to relax.
The house and the traveling and
yeah. And I know, like, I think a big motivation is my future family. I know that a lot of the things, so it's so hard because we talked about last episode is I know I end up fighting to not spoil my kids. But it's like, I'm grinding right now, but it's like, in like 10 years, I'm going to have a different conversation of like, how do I not spoil them? But my goal is to be able to spoil them.
That's right.
One of the things is like, and this is probably bad, but in my head, like driving down the street with my kid, and they look at another family, and they're like, "Why do they have that?" Like in a world that I didn't do a good job, we didn't have the things we wanted, couldn't provide. Put myself in that shoe. I'm driving down the road with my kid, and they're like, "Why does Johnny? Why is his dad? Why do they go get to do that? Why do they get to go to the NBA game?" And we
Right.
why do they get to go have dinner at Tech Storehouse with their family and we don't? Like,
yeah,
I get that thought in my head.
wow.
Like, I can like visually see it. I'm like,
That's powerful when you say that.
5:15 a.m., 5:10 a.m., 5 o'clock a.m. All right, we're getting up at 5. We don't need the extra 15 minutes. It's like, yeah, you can just like,
we're eating at Texas Roadhouse before we go to the NBA game. Damn it.
Yeah. And like that genuinely, like, those thoughts play through my head and gets me going, especially on the weekends. You have a lot of time to reflect, and this is where I think we both enjoy podcasts a lot. It's like a good time to reflect and think about different things and kind of think through thoughts. And usually by Sunday night, I'm ready to go again. I'm like, all right, we're getting up at 5.
Mine was I had a disdain for the people above me, kind of like I have for the government now.
Yeah, I feel
where
like
I thought I could do better, and I really wanted to just get those positions so I could do better, and that really motivated me. I used to, that Mamba mentality was popular when I was grinding, and Kobe was my favorite. The other one was, I don't know. So AI has changed this for me. I think it's made it worse, but I saw this future where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. If you only have a couple more generations to get your family onto the richer side than the poorer side. And I think those will continue to diverge. And I think AI now has made that even more so. The people that are going to be truly rich and controlling their own destiny in a generation or two are the people that own the robots and the AI, right?
yeah, the robots.
I mean, you cannot beat them. There's no amount of hard work you can put in to compete with them.
And like for those, because AI is the topic, right? AI, that's the topic.
Yeah.
But robotics combined with AI, because I always think, I'm like, if everything hit the fan and I just got stripped away of everything, I would go start like a landscaping business or a home remodel business. I would put ads out for handyman work, whatever. And I think I would enjoy that and I could do really good at it. Because it seems like there's money there. People spend 10, 15, 20 grand on landscaping, 10 grand to put in a new bathroom. Like, the money's there. But in the crazy future where robotics, you have Optimus Tesla robot in your shed, he can do that. And he'll have all the information. He'll have every how-to, every YouTube video on how to do stuff, and he'll be trained on it. and he can go put in a crown molding around your whole house in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Like, that's a crazy future, and that would take away my backup plan.
I mean, that, yeah, that it's just like, I don't see how you compete in that world. Like, so how do you make yourself more valuable? How do you get yourself to that other side of the tracks? And I feel like the distance between those two groups is just growing every day. So
Yeah.
I kind of looked at it as like, yeah, I'm doing my duty to my lineage to get them on the right side of the tracks.
Yeah. And I think what these guys are really good at talking about is like, dude, like they really explain that their perception of money is a means to do the things they want to do and to be happy
Yeah.
in life.
Yep.
And that's another thing that is it's going to have to be a thought out thing that adults have thought about what makes them happy to really stay away from depression and a lifeless world where like all these tasks are being done for them.
Yeah.
You're going to really have to know what you want to make you happy and live a good life.
Hunter and I were talking about something similar at your bachelor party. He was saying, or I forgot how it exactly came up, but essentially, I feel like religion is going to explode in that scenario. Like when you don't have to work, when everything's provided for you, and you know there's going to be a huge pit in a lot of people's purpose in life. I could totally see religion blossoming.
And honestly, that's the best scenario for a healthy society. I think there has to be a truth for society to function at a high level, for communities to go. Like, you have to be able to agree on at least like fact. Like, you have to have a vision, right? You have to have things you can agree on. And religion is very good at, hey, we all believe this thing. Now you can have separate religions, like communities can kind of be
Right.
separated. But I think overall, like that would be a pro.
Yeah.
Or even like even stuff like, I mean, Stoicism kind of seems like a religion of sorts. Like, you don't have a God.
Yeah.
It's like it kind of fits the framework of
It does.
religion. And
It fills the same
you
void.
have to have a backbone. You have to have a backbone.
Like a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like a truth. Stuff you can know, at least through your own head, that, hey, this is the right way to go.
Right. Yeah, Stoicism, all the bro stuff. The CrossFit is religion. Woke is religion.
Everyone I know who's gotten into running or triathlon, well, not everyone, 25% of them have dived into it like a religion.
Yeah, that's their thing now. What do you think about the part about crying?
I haven't got there yet. I probably historically have been more on the let my emotions show, and I'm more like, oh, we need to straighten that, get rid of that. I'm more like, I gotta get more. I'm honestly working more on being confident, not second guessing myself, and being a strong leader who's like, this is the decision we're making. It's been thought through, so don't second guess it. Because I'm not good at that. I think that's part of being a younger brother. Is I've always been a very go with the flow person, and so that's something that I have been like working on and thinking about.
Yeah.
How about you? I think Steve.
No, I was very, very, very. When I grew up, I don't know if you remember. You probably do. I could not cry when I didn't want to. I hated it. It wasn't until college where I really.
Wait. You couldn't not cry, so you
like,
would.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure.
If I went to the principal's office for whatever reason, and like I even didn't do anything that wrong, like I was on the right side of it, just the whole pressure. I was a crier.
I didn't know that. That's funny. I did not know that.
It wasn't something I tell many people. So here, internet. Here you go.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
College, I fixed it. I figured it out. You know, when you become a man, you kind of learn how to bury your emotions, which is, but the whole children thing really rewired some things. And I do find myself crying more now. Oddly enough, TikTok, the best algorithm in the world. Dude, it'll show me like soldiers coming home videos. Daddy. Oh my gosh. It melts me. Father-daughter dances, melting. Like I'm just over here just like, and Leslie just,
Leslie, quit cutting the onions.
Leslie loves every second of it.
Dude, okay, so another insight is Sterling's, he likes TikTok, on TikTok. In college, I went through my stretches of TikTok. I was on it too much, so I deleted it. And last weekend, Corinne was out of town, and I was just kind of bored. I came back from a bachelor party where Sterling was on TikTok and talking about, like, he was like, "Did you see this from TikTok?" I'm like, all right, well, he's getting, like, it seems like good information from TikTok. I'll get it again. I was on it too much, and it was like Wednesday night, and I saw a video of a cop shooting a black lab in the front yard, and the dog like dramatically dying. I'm like, this is a Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and I just watched a dog get murdered because of freaking TikTok, and I instantly deleted TikTok. I was like, okay, you already spent too much time, and now you saw that, and like, you don't need to be watching that on a Wednesday night at 7.
That was funny.
So TikTok got deleted from a short 3-day stint on my phone again.
I have been deleting it, but when I like this weekend, I downloaded it. That's how little self-control I have with TikTok.
I mean, I think that's me too. In college, I would literally delete it and re-download it weekly. Not because I like re-download it, because I would allow myself. I would say, hey, just
Right.
delete it for the next 2 days.
Right.
Go
You got to
back to
pass
it.
the test or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank God I didn't have that in college.
Dude,
I had Call of Duty. That's all I had.
And yeah, I think that's a better trade-off. That's a discussion we'll probably get to at one day. But what was kind of funny in college is there'd be games or whatever, and it'd be like, everyone pull up your screen time. And dude, the amount of hours some people had on their TikTok app was like in the 4, 6, 8 hours. Like,
that's crazy.
and like, because in college you have a lot of time.
Yeah.
And especially if you're going out drinking and stuff, you're hungover. And I don't know, like watching TikTok hungover is like a great cure that I don't know if TikTok knows about, but it's a thing. It's like I can sit in bed and cure any anxiety I have by scrolling TikTok.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anyways, we get back on topic.
Well, so I go back and forth with it because I've like intentionally groomed my algorithm to spit me out good stuff, like stuff I'm not. I'll show you my feed. I wouldn't used to. About a year ago, there's no way I'm handing my phone to Leslie.
Dude, how hard do you have? So here's my thing. After TikTok, I went to YouTube because I felt like I could control the algorithm. Exactly what you said. Like you have to very strategically, and it takes a lot of time to curate your own feed. And so I moved to YouTube. There was a lot more learning stuff. And then I don't know what happened, but YouTube got just like these it really dropped off a cliff. So I got
YouTube sucks. That algorithm sucks.
I thought it was good for a while, but yeah, it sucks now. I feel like there's a lot less good content on there. And then I went to Instagram, and Instagram, I've been able to curate that. And now Instagram is my new TikTok where it gets deleted and removed weekly, monthly, whatever. But I felt like and not even for like kind of like the typical TikTok content, like the dog content. Like, I'm sorry, I wanted to watch a video about someone getting pulled over with tint on their windows, and now I get all these cop videos and cops shooting people and dogs. Like, I didn't want that. I just wanted to watch a video of how this guy got out of a speeding ticket. Like, that's all I wanted.
Yep.
And now I'm down this rabbit hole. I'm like, I don't want this rabbit hole.
Yeah. Whenever I watch a video that's different from what I normally see, you'll see it again in like 2 or 3 flip throughs. You gotta pass it. Or now they think you like building Legos. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's where like all in guys are really good at it, but they're like talking about how like it'd be really nice to be able to curate your own algorithm or like see explicitly what the algorithm you're scrolling on
Right.
is
What the
working
current
on.
setup is.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a world where that's open source and you can go grab someone's that's like, hey, like health and wellness content
Right.
specifically curated, click this button and this is what you get. Instead
Right.
of like looking at just, yeah. That would be a cool world. That would be cool.
Yeah. You could I think you can figure out what the algorithm is looking for and you can kind of force it. Like here, so this is what I was going to say is like when I have TikTok, it does motivate me to get off my ass because I have it programmed the right way. But I also spend less time with my kids because even if it shows me videos of you need to spend more time with your kids, I always swipe to the next one. So it's a love hate.
I don't need that lecture right now. The
Tell me
Instagram
that
one,
in about 15 minutes.
the Instagram ones that always get me is it'll be like intro, it'll be like an actual like stupid video, and then I'll cut to it's uh, like a very motivational like cool theme. And it's like get off your butt, like you've been scrolling too long, like this is what you're doing with your life. And I'm like, you're right, toss it.
That's right.
So
A
yeah,
lot of those work.
thanks.
Yeah,
It's
no.
funny because it's like it's kind of crazy they get promoted. It's like how is this
That's
a
right.
popular Instagram channel if the motivation is to get them off the app? Because like people who would tune into that shouldn't be tuning into that, because you should get off the phone. You should.
I think it's like a 3D chess thing. It's like there's some TikTok ads that tell you you've been scrolling too long from TikTok.
I did see those a couple times in college. It's like whoa.
I know. It's like the crack dealer telling the crackhead you've had too much crack.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's honestly very impressive that they have that.
Well, I think they don't want people deleting it.
Like like we're doing.
Yeah. Like their best case is we leave TikTok on our phone forever and there's a healthy relationship with it.
I don't know. I think they profit more off all the unhealthy relationships with it because I think we're the small, very, very small percentage that regulate it. I don't think many people regulate it.
I mean, the government's going to if they don't.
You think so?
In TikTok's world, yes. Maybe not for Instagram and YouTube, but I don't think either of those apps have that problem. They both suck comparatively. I just in showing me the content I like seeing. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they definitely have the best content and algorithm for just enjoyment, entertainment. But yeah.
Hop it back. So like I said, I was a crier when I didn't want to be a crier in high school. I learned to shrug that shit. Probably went too far the other way. I took it as a badge of honor to just push that down and keep pushing through. But so like everyone says men need to be more comfortable with their emotions. Men need to cry more. Men need to be. No, I've never bought that. I have never bought that. I don't believe women want that. Like Leslie likes when I'm crying about. No, they don't. They don't want to see that shit. They don't want the guy that's supposed to protect them from the big dude coming through the door being the guy that cries. Like they don't want that. But what I really liked that I hadn't heard before that he said was it tells you what's important. It's like a mechanism and it goes happy or sad. Like for some reason this is very important to me. And that actually registered for me as everyone says all these things about men and their emotions, but they never really say why, what the benefit is. Like that one struck home because I cry about seeing a daddy-daughter dance. That's clearly really important to me. I liked that one. That was a first for me.
I wonder what that tells me about myself because music always gets me, man.
About
just like a good song.
Yeah.
I'll be on the way to work and I'm like, I start the day off with a little tear listening to
really?
a song.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. It's like music specifically is
wow.
Yeah.
Sad music or happy music? Or just good music?
Good music. A lot of contemporary country, obviously.
Yeah.
We even went to, one of the newer artists that I like, he was in St. Louis when we went to a concert this 2 days ago. And I was just like, yeah, it was like good. It was like awesome. He went up on stage with a guitar by himself. He sounded exactly like his recorded music. I was like, this is awesome. I'm I'm like, dude, stop. Like, I'm like, it's a good song. Just stop. Like, I think it's almost just
That
like,
was me in high school.
it was almost just enjoyment. Like, I was just like, this is a great time. And like,
Hmm.
I don't know if it was just like, I finally like relaxed and I just like was in my feels. But yeah, I'm like, dude, like, just enjoy this and don't have watery eyes. Like, stop. Yeah. So I don't know what that tells me about what's important in my life, but
That's funny.
that is a thing. And we're, yeah, opening up to the internet, which is a crazy idea too. Because
Is that
we
why you
don't,
didn't go to the concert at the bachelor party?
yeah, no, I don't think Pitbull's not Pitbull, T-Pain, or Tupac, T-Pain was not going to do that to me. No,
Shot a
just
guy
not.
low.
Too low. Yeah, no, man.
I had another one that's close to that. It's I liked how he described masculinity about like taking blows. Taking blows. Better add some more context to that. Like shrugging the little inconveniences of the day, the little slights, and just knowing that as the masculine person, I'm going to absorb that. I'm not going to give it back. I'm going to carry that burden. That's always how I've kind of looked at masculinity, is carrying the load for other people.
Mhm.
But I liked his description. It was really good.
Yeah, I don't know how. I guess I do know how, but not how specifically. But kind of how me and my wife's relationship is she kind of worries about stuff, and
Mhm.
she's going to do that, which is good. You need that. And so I got to really strip that of my thought process or what I care about. Like I can't worry. It just have to be like logical, whatever. If it's bad news, just okay. And what's next? Fix
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But identifying that dynamic is, I think, important.
Like being balanced.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's for sure.
because you can definitely curate like your thoughts. You work on stripping that out. And another thing that it made a lot of sense, and I think I knew it, but I never put it together, was that like those people who were, and this is so true, but there's people who are like the tough guys. Someone gets, they're gonna get in a fight. Anything riles them up. Those are snowflakes. Like they're
Yes,
literally
I love that part.
they're letting these words, these people who don't matter, affect them. Like
Right.
they are snowflakes in and of themselves, but you
Small
never hear
slights
that.
turn into huge reactions. We need a
Yeah,
name for it. It's not snowflake.
it's like cowboy
Snowflakes melt
princesses.
at the slightest heat. It's got to be like a short fuse or something. Well, I guess that's already taken, but
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
I loved it. I loved it. If you called one of those guys a snowflake, that would cut right to the bone.
Like,
And we all know who they're talking about.
yeah,
That
I
guy's
have
always been
found
so embarrassing to me. Like
like
when I see
to
someone do that,
themselves.
yeah, like they erupt at a waitress or something. It's like, dude, seriously? That's cringy.
It does make me laugh. Like I was at Lowe's last weekend and I was walking down the aisle and this guy was in front of me and he was looking at these metal brackets and he picks up a metal bracket. He looks around. He's like looking for help and like spikes it back down. I'm just walking past and just like laughing. I'm like, how are you that mad? Just the world that you're spiking metal brackets down because someone's not helping you. It's like just figure it
I can tell you, he's at Home Depot. That's probably the fifth time he's been at Home Depot that day. His wife is pissed at him because he didn't redo the sink like she
out.
wanted. She's been nagging at him for a month.
Yeah, maybe he just needs to be better. Should be mad at himself. Maybe he should have spiked it up. Yeah. No, I don't know if I
That's
can
fun.
say that.
All right, what do you want to take away?
You know what? This is a hard one because at this point in my life, I really want to focus on my like career development, my relationship with my wife, developing our relationship and just our like, life together. It's really hard for me to take time to help other people, and especially I feel like I don't want to actively help other people. I want people to come to me for help, but maybe just like in specifically the issue of like people in my demographic of like just guys struggling like getting into adulthood. Like I would like to help other people because I think I'm doing a pretty good job at it. So maybe taking away that kind of keeping an eye out for it, like friends, peers, anyone.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I feel like I don't talk to any of my peers or friends about these things, and they just don't come up in our relationships we have with my friends and stuff. And it'd be cool to be able to talk to them about it. So just kind of looking out for that. Hopefully, being a pillar, maybe.
Yeah, that's cool. You've always had that big heart.
Yep, wear on the sleeve.
You were born that way. Mine was the, and it's a a lesson you've heard 1,000 times, I'm sure. It was the billionaire would give you.
Right. I was pet my dog. I was pet my dog. I had never had my kid, and I got him on his. Anyway, sorry. Yep,
Well,
million times.
the billionaire would give all of his money to be healthy, right? If he was sick. And the old rich guy would give you everything to trade for your youth. But the reason it kind of stuck out to me this time, and it's always stuck out to me, every time I hear it, I get mad at myself because I hear it, I see the logic in it, and then I don't exercise enough. I work long hours, and I was like, oh, I'll exercise tomorrow because I got this thing due tomorrow at work. And it's like, it's something that I've always seen as the right thing to do, but never have done. And it just
That's a
makes me mad
great
at
problem to have, by the way, Strong. That's a great problem to have.
myself.
It's like you're working too hard at your goals to help yourself, like in a health realm. Like that's a great problem.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I worry about is I'm just lying to myself when I say that. So never mind. We'll save that for the next podcast because I know that episode's coming up.
Dude, yeah. Because I struggle with getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
Like 6 to 8 hours bouncing in between those, and like I would love to. 8 hours is what I need. I haven't been getting them. You have birthday parties for your dog and going to concerts. It's like really hard. Like I'm getting more sleep on my work nights, which is like I don't know. It's hard because I want to balance. I want to look back and not regret like the time me and my wife spent when it was just us two going having fun and spending time with our friends while we like have that opportunity. So like I want to do those things. I don't think I'll regret it, but it's really hard at the same time to put in those hot laps while you're doing that.
Yep.
Fighting for balance, losing sleep.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I do remind myself, I'm like, hey, these people with newborns are apparently only sleeping 4 to 6 hours. And that's what they say. They all say it.
At least one of them
you
is.
can do it. Yeah. So I'm like, I can do it. Like, they're doing it, so I should be able to do it. But then you go back to wanting to focus on your health.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's hard. It's a good goal to have, though.
All right. Well, I think that does it for episode 2.
Yep, that wraps it up. Check out the Daily Stoic.